Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all things plows. We're going to be talking about the three different kinds of plows, and we're going to talk about what they do to the field in the way of pulling up stones and creating weeds. So the first thing we're going to look at are actual plows, which we have right here. Now, I want to say that these don't go as deep as the other plows. I could be wrong about that, but these are the first things we're going to test. And then the next thing we're going to test are spaders. Now, these are new to the game in FS22. We didn't have these in FS19. And basically, these are going to do the same thing that a plow does. And last but not least, we have our subsoilers. Now, the big difference between subsoilers and spaders and plows are that you cannot create fields with subsoilers. Okay, you can plow, but you can't create a field with them. And some of these take some pretty hefty horsepower to run. This one takes 435 horse. This one takes 500 horse to operate. So let's get in it and let's take a look and see what the plows do to the fields. Alright, so we have this tiny field here that needs to be plowed. We're going to set off a worker, and we're going to come back when it's all done to check and see what the field looks like. Alright, so that is the field plowed with a standard plow, and as you can see, it's a lot of small stones. And what you can do is you can take care of these however you want. You can get a stone collector and you can pick them up, or you can get a roller and you can just push them back down into the soil. But as you can see, that plow did not kick up any big stones. Now, I should point out that with this plow here, and there's one other plow in the store, that you can kind of get a cultivator adapter that comes off it. We're not going to take a look at that in this video. When we do a video on cultivating, we'll take a look at that, because I think that may make a difference, because I used this plow with that cultivator attachment on it in France, and I was kicking up some pretty big stones. But without it, as you can see, just small stones. So now, guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to fast forward the days all the way to July. So it'll be next year, and we're going to come back and we're going to see if any weeds have grown in our field. Alright, so here we are. It is July, and as you can see, with the field just being plowed, we haven't done anything else to it. There are absolutely no weeds in the field. So that is test number 1 with the plow. Next up, we're going to check out the spaders, and we're going to come back to this field, and we're going to do it all over again, but a lot quicker. Alright, here we are back at the same field. I had to reset the game, guys, so that's why there's crops growing in it, but I promise you, nothing else has changed. We have just the most simple spader here, 2.5 meter one. We're going to set a worker off on this, and we'll come back when it's done to take a look and see what we have. Now, one thing I should mention with a spader is you do get cultivated texture with the Spader, and I'm pretty sure on the map it even gives you cultivated texture. So that's something to think about. If you want to use a spader, then it looks like you won't have to use a cultivator afterwards. Alright, so we got the field done, and we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is, if you use a spader, it is going to plow and cultivate your field. So you got that nice 2-in-1 tool where you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and be happy about it. The bad news is, because it gives you the cultivated state, you will have to deal with weeds. So with a standard plow, you don't get any weeds because it digs down deep enough, I'm thinking, and it rips up any weeds that are deep in the soil. The spader will not. The spader will give you this cultivated texture, and to me, I mean, it might not be, but it looks like we had more stones with the plow. Maybe not. Again, very tiny stones. You could definitely use a roller on these. You don't need to use a stone picker on them. But as you can see in the little tiny box in the right-hand corner there, I'll zoom in on that. It does say weed growth, and it says you'll need a weeder to dispose of that. Whereas in this field, which we on this field as well, we have weeds. And as you can see, weeds large, and we need herbicide to kill these weeds. We're not going to go into removing weeds in this episode, but we're going to talk about that soon. And honestly, I don't think I really need to fast forward time to check this out, but what I will do is fast forward time until we start to see weeds, just to see how long it takes before we actually get weeds growing here. So next time you guys see me, we'll be back here, and we should have weeds in here, and we'll see how long it actually took. Alright guys, so we have 1 day on, and it looks like in 2 months' time, we have quite a bit of weeds in here. So, yeah, in about 2 months after spading, you're going to have a field full of weeds. So now, all we have left to take a look at is the subsoiler. Alright, last test of the video, we have the subsoiler. So again, we went just with a basic one. I think this is like a 4 meter. One thing I should point out, guys, is with a subsoiler, you cannot create fields with it, whereas you can with the plow and a spade. So let's set a worker off on this and see what this one digs up. Interesting. So the subsoiler does yet a different texture. This looks a lot like the texture, I mean, this is the same texture as the disc harrow. So basically, I'm gonna have to say that this isn't gonna kick up any stones. And if we just take a look here, weed, it says partial. It says herbicide. Very interesting. Very interesting, because I'm pretty sure that when I use a disc harrow, it doesn't show weeds. And this is telling me that I have to use herbicide. Oh, wait. No, yeah. I'm almost wondering. Okay, wait a minute. There we go. It switched over. So I'm thinking this side here. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the subsoiler is going to give you plowed state and cultivated state with the cultivated texture, but it's going to be the disc arrow texture, and you're not going to get any weeds or stones. That's what it seems like. Of course, we're going to let it finish, just to make sure. But, and guys, I know what you're thinking. You know, I can shut stones off. I can turn weeds off. You know, what's the point? Like, why have them on, right? But I think from a play standpoint, it's kind of interesting to say that, yes, I have all these things on, but there's a way that I can farm around that, right? So there's things I can do to my field to kind of guarantee that I'm not going to have these things even though they're there. Because just like in real life, you can't just turn weeds off. But I would imagine there are things that you can do to help it. You know what I mean? So I think that that's cool. That's the option that they give you in the game to say that, look, if you really don't want to deal with weeds and just do whatever you want to do, or stones, you can absolutely turn them off. But there are options that if you have them on, you can kind of do things to your field to guarantee that they won't be an issue. So that's pretty cool. Alright, we're going to let this worker finish, and then we'll come back with our final verdict here. Alright guys, so the field is done, and as you can see, there is no weed growth, there are no stones. So the kind of final verdict on this is that if you want to keep the weed growth and stones on as an option, just for more realism, there are ways to go about it where you don't have to deal with them. So a plow, a standard plow, is going to kick up stones. It's not going to give you any weeds. A spade is going to kick up small stones, and you will get weed growth from it. A subsoiler, on the other hand, is going to give you no weeds and no stones. So, man, I mean, it kind of seems like a no-brainer that if you want to have a field without the weeds or stones, the subsoiler is the way to go. Now, again, there are methods to using, well, no, there's no methods to using the plow or the spade to not get any stones. This is literally the only way that you can plow your field and not get any stones at all. Now, there are ways to cultivate the field without weeds, but yeah, I mean, it seems like the subsoiler would definitely be the way to go, because you're not going to get any of the problems that you're going to get with the other implements. So that is a very interesting thing to learn. So guys, I hope you found this useful. I actually learned a lot. I'm enjoying testing stuff out in this game because, you know, just the differences that they have implemented are just crazy. I mean, we have the different textures, and these different implements just do different things, and, you know, they create different environments in the field. So I think that's pretty cool. And with that being said, guys, that's where we're going to end this video. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.